Hello and welcome to this English lesson about phrasal verbs. And as you can see, this is part 3.
If you didn't
Watch the first two lessons, I recommend to take some time at some point to sit down and watch those as well. And you get a sense of some of the most common phrasal verbs that we use in English. Again, phrasal verbs are verbs that have two components. And sometimes it's hard to know what they mean because the addition of the preposition can sometimes change the meaning of the actual verb. So you see what I mean when I'm start to talk about the this lesson. Welcome to this English lesson, part 3. I think I probably do a part 4, and we'll round things out. You have 4 lessons on what I think 100 most common phrasal verbs in English. So once again, welcome to this English lesson, phrasal verbs. To split up. So when you split something up, you look at the candies on the table. Sometimes my mom would buy a bag of and she split up the candy, divide them into little piles. There are 5 of us, by the way, my brother and sisters, and have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And my mom would split up the candies, so we all got the same amount. If you look at the far picture though, it's a scissor cutting up marriage certificates in half. People can also split up. If someone's dating someone and they stop dating, they're not together anymore, they split up. If people are married, they decide to separate. They decide to go further and get a divorce. By the way, when you separate, you just don't live together. When you get a divorce, it's illegal. You no longer. They split up. Jack and Frida. Haven't used the name Frida before. Jack and Frida together anymore. They split up a couple of weeks ago. So it means to end the relationship or to divide. Split up. Everyone sees 2 meanings. To act up. So lots of machines in the world eventually don't work properly. The biggest example for me is the biggest example in my life is the photocopier's work. Sometimes it will act up. They have paper jams. They stop working for no reasons. Sometimes my car will act up. My van, I drive van. My van will act up. Maybe the engine won't run. There will be a weird shake. Has a weird shake, start to act up a bit. So when a machine doesn't work properly, we often say it is acting up. Or we say, if you're going to use the photocopier, be careful because it might act up on you. It might not work properly. To come across. There's 2 versions of this, by the way. To come across and to come across as. I'll talk about this one first. If you're from you might come across some garbage. If you're out, try to think here. This is probably the best example. It means to find something you are expecting to come. You may come across some garbage. When I go to a school, sometimes when I walk through a school, I come across students' backpacks just sitting in a hallway and no students around. So it means that you're obviously you find something as you are doing that. When you drive on the highway, you might come across slow drivers, and might be frustrating for you. To come across as though, describe a person. Personalities a little bit. This guy come across as angry. I think it's come across as nice. So that was kind of bold to me to say that. It's a way to describe what you think of something when you meet them or see them. Okay. Years ago, I had a boss who came across as friendly. It's really nice to have a boss. He comes across as friendly. I know that. Let's see. Jen comes across as someone who doesn't talk quickly. She's a very quiet person. She comes out as very thoughtful and considerate. How you describe how someone is, I guess. To run into. This is a very common one. Sometimes when I go to the grocery store, I run into a friend. A few weeks ago, I ran into my sister at the grocery store. I switched to the past tense. This does not mean that I drove my car and hit my sister's car. It can mean that. But generally in English, if you run into someone, it means that you met them without expecting to meet them. Okay. I run into former students quite regularly because some of them live in the same town as my school. So sometimes when I go to the hardware store or go to the grocery store, I will run into them. I will meet them by chance a little bit. It's fun to run into people that you haven't seen for a while. To hang around and to hang around with. So to hang around simply means to wait. This person's arrived on a train and maybe they're waiting to get picked up. So they're just going to hang around at the train station for a while. I know one time I landed. I went on a trip and I landed. My uncle was going to pick me up from the airport, but I had to hang around for about an hour and wait for him because he's get there at the time I need to pick up to be picked up. So to hang around sometimes means to wait. It can also mean to be somewhere for no reason. Sometimes teenagers will hang around in front of the store. Sometimes they hang around at the park. In that sense, it means the same as to hang out. They hang out with their friends. They hang around at the park. There's a two good sense. But generally, it means just kind of wait. To hang around with. To hang around with. To use more to talk about. The people someone is friends with. If you were to say, Bob, who do you hang around with? I would say, well, mostly I just hang around with Jen. But I do have friends from high school who I actually haven't seen for a while. So I haven't been able to hang around with them for a bit. We should probably reconnect and go get movie or something. You say hang around with. You can't mention the specific. Who does your nephew hang around with at school? He hangs around with some really nice kids, and they're studying together and get really good grades. So to hang around, to wait, to hang around with. You mention the specific people who you're spending time. To work out a couple of meanings here. So it can mean to exercise. A few days a week, I like to work out. I like to lift some weights. I like to walk vigorously for exercise. I like to work out. But that can also mean to solve. When you do a puzzle, you need to work out which pieces go together. When Jen plants in the flower bed, she has to work out how many sheets she can put in each bed. Sometimes maybe let's say your family has two vehicles and three drivers. You might have to work out who takes which vehicle when. So it can mean to work out, to lift weight. It can also mean to solve a problem or to figure something out, very similar to figure out. And then to look forward to. So this is kind of straightforward. There's a lot of words here. It means to be excited about a future event. I look forward to my birthday every year in the summer. It's very broad space of time in which my birthday happens. I look forward to going to work every day. It's actually a good thing. You should always be happy about going to work. Otherwise, you may wish to get a different job. It's possible. I know that's not possible for everyone. I look forward to the weekend. I'm always excited. It's Friday today. I'm really look forward to tonight when I can come home and kick back and relax. That's the phrasal verb from a week ago. Just look forward to be excited about a future event or future time.